You know, some stories are just so ancient, they almost feel like myths. But their lessons, they're as real and as sharp today as they were thousands of years ago. Today, we're going to dive into one of the most brilliant and devastating psychological weapons ever used, and it comes straight from the pages of ancient scripture.
So, let's go back in time. We're on the epic battlefield of Kurukshetra, a place filled with heroes, villains, and impossible moral choices. But this story isn't really about a battle of swords and arrows. No, this is about a battle for the mind, where a single, perfectly crafted sentence would change the entire course of a war.
At the very heart of this conflict is this incredible figure, Guru Dronacharya. I mean, this guy was the greatest teacher of his era, an absolute legend, an unstoppable force in warfare. By all accounts, he was completely unbreakable.
But here's the thing, there were two sides to him. On one hand, you had Dronacharya the warrior, a strategic genius, feared by everyone. But on the other hand, you had Dronacharya the father, and he had one single profound vulnerability, his overwhelming love for his son, Ashwatthama. His greatest strength was tied to his deepest weakness.
And his enemies, the Pandavas, they knew this. They understood it completely. They looked across the battlefield and realized, as long as Dronacharya is standing there, with his weapons in hand and his spirit intact, we just cannot win. It's impossible. He was the one thing standing in their way.
So, they came up with a plan, a strategy that was as brilliant as it was cruel. They decided we can't attack his body, so let's attack his mind. They decided to aim for that one weakness they knew he had, his heart. And their weapon of choice? Not a sword, not an arrow, but a half-truth.
And a half-truth can be so much more dangerous than a regular lie, right? Because it's wrapped in a little bit of truth, which makes it believable. The plan was pretty straightforward. They would kill an elephant that also happened to be named Ashwatthama, and then they'd deliver the news.
Now, let's be super clear about this. This wasn't about winning some small skirmish. This was a targeted psychological strike. The whole point was to plant a seed of absolute devastation in his mind, and then just let his own love and fear do the rest of the work. The goal was to shatter his will to fight from the inside out.
So the news is first brought to Drona by Bhima. But Drona, he doesn't believe him. He knows Bhima could be lying, but that seed of doubt, it was planted, and panic starts to set in. In the chaos of war, his mind is just racing, desperately searching for some solid ground, for something true.
So he seeks out the one man on that entire battlefield who was known for one thing above all else, his unwavering commitment to the truth, Yudhishthira. This was Drona's last-ditch effort to find some clarity. He figured if Yudhishthira says it, well, then it must be true. The stage was set.
And so, the greatest warrior on the field, now nothing more than a terrified father, asks the one question that would seal his fate. You can almost feel the weight of it, can't you? All the sounds of the battle just fading away, leaving only this single, desperate question hanging in the air.
And Yudhishthira, true to his code, spoke the truth. He said, Ashwatthama Hata, which translates to Ashwatthama is dead. And here's the thing, he wasn't lying. The elephant named Ashwatthama was dead. That part was fact.
But there was a second word, a small but critical word, gaja, meaning the elephant. But Yudhishthira supposedly whispered this part. And in the roar of battle, and more importantly, in the roar of Drona's own fear and grief, that single, clarifying word was lost. He only heard what his heart dreaded most.
And in that one instant, the world of that unstoppable warrior completely and utterly shattered. The half-truth, amplified by his own deep love for his son, had hit its target with devastating, perfect precision.
I mean, just try to imagine that. For a parent like Drona, whose whole life, whose whole world revolved around his son, this news wasn't just bad, it was the end of everything. His hope, his duty, his strength, his reason to fight, it all just evaporated.
And his surrender was immediate and total. This was a man who couldn't be beaten by any weapon, and he just dropped his own. He sat down, right there in the middle of a raging battle. He wasn't a warrior anymore. He was just a broken father, completely shattered from the inside.
And in that state of pure vulnerability, he was struck down and killed. But really, the fatal blow had landed long before any sword got near him. The real cause of death was that weaponized half-truth that had already destroyed his spirit. So, okay, This is a powerful story from thousands of years ago. But what does it have to do with us, right here, right now? Well, it turns out it has everything to do with us. This is a timeless lesson about truth, about information, and about our own minds.
See, this is what makes a half-truth so uniquely dangerous. An outright lie, we can often spot it. We can fight it with facts. But a half-truth? It sneaks past our logical brain and goes straight for our emotions. It creates this fog of confusion that makes it almost impossible to see clearly.
And this is where it hits home for all of us. How often do we do this exact same thing? We get a piece of information, a text, a headline, a bit of office gossip, and because it triggers one of our deepest fears, we react instantly. Just like Drona, we hear the part that confirms our anxiety, and we let our emotions fill in the rest of the story.
So what's the takeaway? How can we avoid falling into this trap? Well, Drona's Fall gives us a pretty clear guide. Number 1, listen fully. Don't just grab onto the emotional trigger words. Hear the whole message. 2, try to understand completely. Ask questions. Ask, is there more to this story? And finally, number 3, and this is the big one, verify before you react. Give your logical mind a chance to catch up with your emotions. So I'll leave you with a question to really think about. In your own life, in your job, in your relationships, what half-truth might be shaping your reality right now? What piece of information have you accepted without hearing the full story? It's a vital question to ask ourselves before we too drop our weapon.